Hey YouTube, it's Ayana. I realized that I took another super long break in between videos. I don't understand how professional YouTubers find the time, the consistency, all of that. But I really am working on it. I have a couple videos actually planned and written out and all of that. So I promise, actually, let me not promise because I might be wrong. So I'm really making an effort to get these videos filmed and get them out there. But for today's video, as you can see by the title and by my shirt, it's going to be about how to get accepted into Howard University. So for those who don't know, I do go to Howard University. I'm a senior computer information systems major, and it's about that time where people are starting to apply for school. Well, personally for me, I didn't apply to Howard until like January of my senior year of college, but I've already seen some people that have actually been accepted to Howard as class of HU 23 already. So I'm sorry this video is a little late, but for those of you who, like me, you waited till almost the last minute to apply, this video is for you. And if you guys would like to see more content like this, then please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. So I did a couple polls after looking at, well, I did a couple polls on Instagram and Twitter after looking at this site, prepscholar.com. It's an admission statistics site. I'll link everything below. It said that the acceptance rate of Howard is about 30% and that we're ranked as a difficult school to get into.
And I really disagreed with that.
I guess, but I felt like maybe my disagreement was a little jaded. So I went ahead and did some Instagram and Twitter polls. I'll insert here asking people that are in Howard or that got in, was it hard to get into? And I feel like the overwhelming majority on both platforms said no. Um, so I feel like that's a little bit reassuring. Like sometimes we see these admission statistics and it makes us feel like maybe we might not be good enough, or it just kind of scares us and makes the whole college application process really daunting. And I feel like the less stress you have when going into the college application process, the more successful you are when it comes to writing the essays and answering the questions and doing what you need to do to get accepted. So yeah, that's just as a starting off. I'd like to just reassure everyone that that number does look scary and seeing difficult does look scary, but like a lot of us didn't have perfect GPAs, perfect test scores, and we're still here. We still got in. So while this video isn't a guarantee that you will get into Howard University, I do have a couple of tips that I've gained from other people and tips that I used myself and other insight that I gained from doing these different polls and stuff that might give you a little bit more of a leg up into getting in. So the first section I'd like to talk about in order to get admitted into Howard University is your GPA and your test scores, whether that be ACT or SAT. So the polls, I did Instagram and Twitter polls again on both the test scores and the GPA, so I'll insert those as well. I looked around for like some data on what the average accepted Howard GPA was, and I found that it was about a 3.33, which for me I think is pretty reassuring because when I did the poll, the most people said they got into Howard said their high school GPA was around the 3.0 to 3.4 range. Me personally, I had about a 3.8. I graduated in the top 10% of my class, but academics was sort of my thing. That's where I was focusing most of my effort on because I was trying to secure a scholarship. But it seems to be that if you get at least above a 3.0, then your chances are pretty good of getting in. As far as the SAT and the ACT goes, I personally did not take the ACT. I only took the SAT, but I'll insert what people said as their scores. It seems for SAT, the most people that I polled, they got anywhere from a 12 to 1400, and ACT people got from about a 28 to 35, which I think is pretty high. I'm not sure. I don't know how that test works. I'm really sorry, but um, from what I've gathered from the websites that I was using to reference, Prep Scholar and College Simply, which I'll link below, it says that the SAT and the ACT scores about the average of who got in. So SAT is around an 1120, and that's reading and math composite. And for ACT, it's a 22, which is reading and math composite as well.
Um, I honestly don't even remember.
I know it was high enough to get me the legacy scholarship, which Howard no longer offers. So I got whatever was in that range. But I also retook my SAT multiple times. I think it was mostly my GPA that got me in. I did very well in the reading and writing sections of the SAT, but as you guys know, they don't even count writing, so it didn't matter. I made like a perfect score; they don't even count it, so very pointless. But reading, I did very well. Got like a seven above a 700, but I think my math was like 560 or something like that because I'm just not good at math. But it was high enough to get me a scholarship, and it was high enough to get me in. So just like your target for ACT should be a 22 and your target for SAT should be an 1120. And you can retake these tests multiple times, and Howard will take the highest scores that you get from each section. So please take these tests as many times as you can. That is like, I feel like Howard cares more about the test scores when it comes to getting scholarships and getting in than they do about the GPA. So do whatever you have to do to get your highest possible scores on these tests. And one of those things is take them over and over and over again. Your extracurricular involvement and excellence, meaning like not you weren't just a participant, but you excelled in a certain activity. So here, the polls, I'll insert those as well. So I basically just asked if you got in, how actively and successfully were you involved in extracurriculars in high school? And the most people answered that they were the jack of all trades, but the second most amount of people were uninvolved or only moderately involved, and there were very few champions of something. I personally fell into the jack of all trades category. I was debate team president, I was academic decathlon, marching band, honors band, choir. I literally, there was like nothing that I didn't do because I was trying to secure that scholarship by any means necessary. Um, and I excelled in a couple of those activities, but at the end of the day, they didn't really matter because it was my academics that got me in and got me my scholarship because that was where I excelled the most in. So that whole well-roundedness thing for college apps is kind of like a thing of the past. I feel like colleges want to see someone who is, a champion of something that can, make the school look good, or they want somebody who's just academically excellent. So, excelling in one field outside of your academics is something that I would recommend because that sort of diversifies your talents and scholarship opportunities, which is what I was the most worried about. But ultimately, people kind of came to the conclusion that it doesn't really matter for admission purposes. It's more of like a scholarship sort of thing. And then Howard is also a more academically focused school, I would say. Unless we're talking like a specific field of something like swimming, like our swim team is really good, lacrosse. Like if you're trying to do something like that, that's where your extracurricular involvement matters. And these people do get, great scholarships for participating in these things. But as far as them affecting your admission status, they kind of rank like at the very least of importance. So I just want to leave you guys with like some final tips, words of wisdom, all of that. My biggest tip, like overall, is to take your test, the SAT and the ACT, as many times as you possibly can. It's not just Howard that does this. I'm pretty sure it's other universities too. They only consider the highest score per section. So it's like, let's say you take the test once and you completely bomb, the math section, but you score perfectly in the reading section. Take it again. Improve your math score, and they will take your perfect reading score from the last test and your highest math score and add those together. And that's how you can raise your overall composite score. And that's really how I got my scholarship. I took that SAT like 4 times because I was really trying to get my math score higher because it just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. But anyway, just take the test as many times as you can. It also makes up if you have like kind of a lower GPA, kind of averages it out. So like let's say you do really, really well on the test and your GPA was like kind of average, 3.0 or under, then that gives you like an extra edge. And it really does, like the scholarships, the SAT requirements and ACT requirements are harder than the GPA requirements to me. So I feel like I think for my GPA requirement for my scholarship, it was like a 3.4 and I had like a 3.8, but my SAT score was lower. So that's why I ended up getting a lower level scholarship. Another tip I'd say is to try to have at least a 3.0 high school GPA. Depending on how much control you guys have over like your class schedules, I would take the easiest classes that you can your last semester, so that you can, set yourself up to get that 3.0. And another thing, unless you are very good at a subject, meaning like that like the back of your hand, stay away from these AP classes. I saw too many people in high school, bomb AP calculus, bomb AP physics because they just wanted to be in AP classes, and then that took their overall GPA average down, or they ended up not passing the AP test. AP scores are very finicky when it comes to college. They don't always take all of them. They don't always take every passing score. So dual credit is a way better option. Take that when you can. It's not going to help your GPA necessarily because at my high school, at least, dual credit didn't factor into your GPA since it was only a college credit and not, a class taken at the high school. But yeah, do not screw yourself over with these AP classes. Take the easiest classes you can. Set yourself up for getting that 3.0 or above. And I touched on this earlier, but please, please, please do not try to be the jack of all trades, well-rounded person if it's causing your grades to slip, especially. If you have something that you're good at, by all means, do that, excel at that. You're diversifying your scholarship opportunities, but don't try to put your hand in any and everything because that takes away time from you being able to study and raise your academics. That's the problem I had in high school. I did everything, and then it didn't matter because I got an academic scholarship. So I did all of that. I did things I didn't even enjoy just because I was so worried about getting a scholarship. But like I said, if you have that one or two things that you are the bomb at, then keep doing it, of course. Um, let's see, what's next? Oh, apply as early as you can. I did touch on that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Apply early. If Howard is your first choice, apply early, but don't put Howard as your end all be all. Have several backups, have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 backups because at the end of the day, these admission processes are sometimes just luck of the draw. And I don't want to see anybody, put themselves in a position where, okay, they didn't get into Howard, but they didn't apply in anywhere else. So now they're like racing to find a school at the last minute. Oh, another one, this is for the Common App. So collect your recommendations as early as possible. My high school teachers did my recommendations, and one of them waited very late to finish mine, which really upset me. But do that as early as possible because teachers get busy, relatives get busy. Who's ever doing your application, like have them do it as early as possible, and also have them send you a copy of the recommendation on their official letterhead and everything, but send it to you through a Word document. My teachers did that for me because I had a very close relationship with them. And since I was applying to so many different colleges and they didn't all use the Common App, they got tired of having to like send me letters over and over again. So they would just give me the Word editable file. Editable, is that a word? Anyway, they just gave me that and I would just change the name of the college. But make sure you get their permission to do that. But that's also just a useful thing to have so you don't have to keep bugging them to write you a recommendation every 5 seconds. Reuse your essays when you can. A lot of these questions are very generic, very behavioral, experience-based. This is going to sound bad, but exploit your sob stories when you can. I cannot tell you how many sob stories I have written in these essays to get scholarships. It's sad that you have to kind of exploit your trauma to get funding or even get in somewhere, but look, you use what you got. And also, you don't want to keep having to rewrite essays over and over again. A lot of these essays are nearly the same. So just tweak simple things in order to make it fit the new question. These essays aren't that deep. I honestly feel like they matter more for scholarships than they do for actual admission. So just my final note on this video is that in the event that anybody watching this doesn't get into Howard, please do not take that as a personal attack against your intelligence, your overall worth, any of that. There's a number of things that could stop somebody from getting admitted. It could be that just they've already admitted their cap, like they've admitted as much people as they can, and you just so happen to apply after that number, or it could just be, plain luck. So if you don't get into Howard, or if you don't get into any school, period, your dream school, all of that, please do not think that, life is over. There are several other colleges. And at the end of the day, a college education is a college education, and that's a great thing to have, regardless if it's your first choice, second choice. You should be proud of going to school and getting that degree, period. So, yeah, like I said, getting into Howard or getting into any school is not the end all be all. There's always other schools. That's why I said always have a backup plan. Um, and Howard is a great school, great reputation, all of that. But you can find the same sense of community, the same opportunities. You can find that pretty much anywhere you go if you make those opportunities and such for yourself. So yeah, if you don't get in, it's not that deep. It'll be okay. I promise. Whatever school you do decide to go to, even if you do decide to come to Howard, make the best of it wherever you go. So I'm going to show you guys how to apply to Howard using the Common App. You're just going to go to the website. I'll link it below and click Apply Now. Then you're going to create an account either as a first-time transfer, whatever kind of student best describes you. Log in credentials after you log into your account. Then you're going to go to My Colleges, College Search, and then search for Howard University, which is located in Washington, D.C. And after you hit search, it's going to come up in the My Colleges, and you're going to add it to it. And then it'll take you to the application that you can fill out that's officially applying to Howard University. So just fill out all the information it asks for. It'll ask for you to fill out your profile, academic information, extracurricular, all of that. And then it'll ask you for your recommenders and FERPA. So after you do all of that, then you can review and submit and apply, and you're officially done. And you can use this application for other colleges as well.